There are three common pitfalls that every business owner, entrepreneur, author faces when pursuing any vision.
We do have some videos posted on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and you search for Brenda Kasuva, you will be able to find us. Majority of you already have my contact information, but just in case, if you haven't gotten the opportunity to download my contacts on your phone, the QR code on the right-hand side will give you that opportunity, and you will also have the chance for you to share your contacts with me as well. We have to thank our sponsors for making this possible. The two sponsors are Kyle Davidson of First Home Mortgage that will be in touch with you after the session to see how they can help to work business, especially with you. For those who are working with first-time home buyers, they have great products that your buyers are able to take advantage of. On the title side, Marvin Reese from CLA Title is also able to guide us with that conversation of title. However, today, this is made possible by us having a guest speaker, an individual that I have been fortunate to work with now, I think, for a year. His name is Roy Kamau. He's a writing coach, author, and speaker. His passion is to unlock greatness. He definitely has done that for me. Has been able to publish and author 3 books. The founder of Kingdom Authors Program. You can connect with Roy at Instagram by going to Sir Roy as presented at the bottom. I will have him introduce himself because I'm sure he will do a better job than I, and I will be ready to listen to what he has available to pour into us. Roy, it's all on you. Thank you so much for making this possible and for being here.
Thank you so much, Brenda. Good afternoon to everyone. I am so grateful again, Brenda, for having me here today to share. I hope that today we're all going to walk away empowered and transformed so that our businesses, our lives would definitely continue to grow. Again, like she introduced me, my name is Roy Kamau. I am an author of 3 books. I also have a coaching program called Kingdom Authors Program where I work with faith-based leaders and authors to help them publish their books. Over the past 2 years, we've been able to help about over 16 authors, and that's with a total of, I think, 18 or 19 books. 5 of those authors have become best-selling authors, and one this year won the award for Book of the Year by African Authors Organization. And before I go into today's conversation, I do want to acknowledge again the people here. I see that we have Morella, Stephanie, Nakia, Sheila, Mom. I love I love to call her Mom, but you all know her as Janet Munyao, and Dr. Olivia, and also thank you so much to all the sponsors for this Growth Fridays, Kyle Davidson and Marvin. Thank you. So today I want to talk to you all about vision. Now, this is a topic that we all have heard plenty of TED Talks about, plenty of self-help books have been written about this topic in particular. But maybe today I want to take a different spin, and I want to specifically talk about how to failure-proof your vision, And I want to begin by first sharing a little bit more about myself. Before I started coaching authors and helping them publish their books, I spent quite a number of years working with various small businesses and companies like nonprofit organizations. One was a World Bank initiative, Y2Y community. I worked with them in helping their businesses build their websites and help them with their marketing materials. And throughout the years, what I've discovered is that each and every single company or business organization has a very key factor that determines how well they do what they do. And even with the authors I've worked with, I've discovered that there is this one key thing. There is this one key variable that helps each one of them succeed, whether in a great manner, or some people struggle in that. But that factor and variable is their vision. Now, by definition, if we actually look at the dictionary, right, it says vision, right, is the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. Vision is the definition, by definition, the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. Now, I'm going to assume everyone here understands the importance of having a vision for your own personal life, having a vision for your business, having a vision for really what you want to do. And for the business owner today, your statement of vision is really what determines where your organization is going to be. It is what provides the destination for your organization. It is where you know as a business owner you want to take your business. And today I want to focus on that, the vision that you have for your business, for your organization, and how we can proof that, failure proof it, so that you can succeed even now in the current recession. There are three common pitfalls that every business owner, entrepreneur, author faces when pursuing any vision. Now, these are common for every person, whether you are Black, white, Latino, Asian. It does not matter who you are. If you have a vision, these pitfalls, and even I myself included, I have fallen to these. And the first one that I'm going to start with is mentality. And what I want to also ask is that as we go through these pitfalls, I will ask for your feedback at some point. I will ask as well for you to interact where you possibly can share. I will ask a question. I do not have a slide deck. I will just lead you through some of these points, but I will give you each a time where you can write down some things. So I will ask if you have a pen or a notebook, make sure that you have it ready, because we will go through a couple of questions where you will write down some things. And hopefully we can all share. I like to interact. I like to make it a place where we can all learn from each other, not just from me. But I want to talk about mentality. The first pitfall is mentality. Now, most leaders live their lives backwards. And what do I mean by that? Most people try to build their vision around themselves. And why is that backwards? Because your vision was never meant to be built around you. In fact, your vision was meant to build you, because every leader wasn't born a leader. Every leader was not born a leader. They were born with a vision, and that vision made them into a leader. Every innovator wasn't born an innovator. They were born and they found a vision, discovered it, and that vision created them or made them an innovator. So you don't become a leader by having a vision. Your vision unlocks the leader in you. And the question I want you to ask yourself right now is, does your vision for your business inspire you to become a better leader? Does your vision for your business inspire you to grow as a leader? Does it pull from you the best version from you of you? You see, Moses had a vision, if we were to look at an example, before he was the leader of the Hebrew people. Steve Jobs had a vision before he became the greatest innovator of our time. So does your vision make you want to shift the reality of the person you're becoming? Does it make you want to shift the reality of the person you're becoming? Because there's no person who started out as a leader or innovator or a success. Every man or woman starts out with just a vision. Now, I want you to take 3 minutes right now, and I want you to write down 3 things about yourself that you think your vision requires you to change or shift. Write down 3 things. right now. In your notebook, write down 3 things that you know that your vision requires you to shift about yourself. Does anyone want to share what they wrote down? It doesn't have to be 3 things, it could be 1 thing.
I don't know if I understood the assignment. I wrote connect, drive results, give chances.
Lovely. Does anyone else want to share?
Yes, I wrote consistently market myself, more visible, more focused, more technology and social media active.
I love that. I love that. Okay. I will share mine. I know that my vision requires me to be an intentional coach. So for me, I know that my work is to help people unlock their greatness and their potential. And when I'm working with authors, it requires me to learn how to be intentional in my approach. It also requires me to be more forthcoming in perhaps helping others, whereas in an instance, I may find myself possibly seeing something that someone is not doing or doing wrong. And I, as a leader, have to be forthcoming in being able to address that. I also know that it also requires me to have more fun. And this is a bit different because sometimes building a business can get serious. And unfortunately, when you are building a vision, when you don't enjoy it, when you don't have fun with it, you will end up resenting sometimes the work you do. And so those are some things that I know that my vision requires me to change about myself, to have more fun in what I'm doing. I see that Mom shared to unlock her potential. All right, so let's go to number 2. What is the second pitfall? The second pitfall that every leader, business owner, entrepreneur faces when they're building their vision is the pitfall of reality. Reality is the second pitfall, reality. What do I mean by reality? Oftentimes when we're building a vision, let's say we're planning right now for 2023. Everyone plans for their goals. Everyone anticipates the things they will accomplish. Everyone anticipates the greatest things that they will achieve. But the problem is that true leaders anticipate as well the obstacles they will face along the way. Sometimes when you are facing your vision or building your vision, there has to be a sense of reality to where you don't just see the good things that will come when you are building it, but you also foresee the bad things, or rather the challenging things that will come when you're building it. You're only as strong as a leader as the obstacle that makes you quit. Up until the moment where you decide, I can't do this anymore, that is as strong as you are as a leader. That is as strong as you'll ever be as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, sometimes even as a parent, sometimes even as an individual. The last obstacle that makes you quit, that is the peak of your strength. And the reason why this is so important for you to know right now is that for 2023, when you are experiencing a recession, or rather when the economy is in a recession, anticipate everything that could go wrong. Anticipate everything that could possibly go wrong. And this is not telling you to be pessimistic in your approach. This is telling you to be realistic, because when you have a realistic point of view, you'll be able to as well create the opportunities from those situations. They say that to fail to plan is to plan to fail. But I tell you that if your plan does not include how you will handle failure when it comes, you will not continue towards your vision. You will forfeit building it because you experienced failure to a point where your strength is no longer able to keep you going. So I'll tell you right now, what challenges, what obstacles, right? What obstacles do you anticipate to face in the market knowing that there is a recession? What challenges do you anticipate to face even when it comes to dealing with your clients? Because as a real estate agent, I know that one of the biggest things that happens is a client gets all the way to the point where they're sure up until there's something that comes up, and then they decide to go a different direction. And I know the feeling. But what will you do next time when that happens? Next time when that happens, do you have a way to handle that? Do you have a way to handle even the rejection? Do you have a way to handle as well the objections that you will face? Plan not just for the goals, but also plan for the obstacles. Because if you are a wise leader, if you're a wise business owner, you will plan as well for the obstacles. Now, how can you plan well? Don't just set goals for your business. or life, set plans in place on how you will overcome failure, objection, rejection. Because when failure happens, most people either flee to the next best thing and they say, maybe this isn't cut out for me, or maybe that wasn't meant to be. And there's a probably very, very, very small percentage where that's true. But in reality, it's just that there is that fear that if I try again, will I fail again? But the truth is that the biggest successes that you see today are people who failed well, are people who learned how to fail well. So I challenge you, whenever you are planning for 2023, anticipate what failures, obstacles, challenges, rejections, objections you will face along the way, because I would not want for you to freeze in a state of inaction when you experience failure. You're not going to succeed if your mentality is to avoid confronting the reality that failure is a part of the journey. You will succeed if you see and anticipate these obstacles. Now, this is another opportunity to interact. I'm going to give you a few minutes right now, and I want you to write down some obstacles, challenges, objections that you faced this year in your business. Write them down. And I also want you to write, what can you do differently next year if those same challenges, objections, rejections come up again? So take a few minutes, write down the obstacles that you faced in your business this year, the challenges, the objections, and then write down what you will do differently should they come up next year. Okay? Would anyone like to share?
I'd just like to say that I wasn't using all of my available resources, all of my technology that would make my job a lot easier. So I'm definitely working on that. That's Absolutely. My main goal, just the one.
Thank you, Joyce. Okay, can we have another person share? Okay, anyone else? Some obstacles you faced in your business this year and what you can do differently.
For me was a shiny object attraction, trying to do everything all at once. So what I've been challenging myself is just focus on one thing at a time and be great at it.
Absolutely. I think it is a real thing when you see what's working for someone else, right? And you find that interest to be something that you also want to apply to your own work. And I think there is a place and time for experiments in your business. Because let's be all honest, innovation sometimes comes when you see another person doing something else and you are like, okay, that's something I want to innovate and try here. But the gold or the shiny object syndrome comes from just an extreme level of doing that, where it's like every other thing you see, you want to try it. Now, how you can do that, I'll talk about it in number 3 in a bit, where you can avoid the shiny object syndrome. And how I have learned to apply that is that I learn to stop and think about something before I implement it. I'd say, you know what, let me take the day and think about it some more. Before I start implementing anything, I take time to think about it even more and even sleep on it, because oftentimes the dopamine that you have from initially seeing that idea will wean off, and you'll be able to think of it rationally. And you'll be able to make a decision based on whether it's aligned with your values for your business or whether it's aligned even with the vision that you have. So I really like that you mentioned the shiny object syndrome, because that's something that's real for a lot of us.
There's one more. Yeah, staying on schedule, sticking to the calendar, and being able to block appointments.
Absolutely. I see Mom shared here, financial targets not achieved last quarter of the year, put avenues to adjust and stop self-pity and change. So in any business, there is always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be the challenge of what do you do when you don't meet your quota, or rather your financial targets. And I think that is a really great point, where you put avenues to adjust, where you say, okay, maybe we didn't reach this because we didn't do this, but we're going to stop self-pity. We're not going to sit there and wallow, but we're going to change. We're going to adjust. And I think the greatest thing that you can have as a business owner is your ability to innovate on the spot, your ability to quickly shift things on the spot. Because like I said, shiny object syndrome will, in that moment, you'll say, maybe we need to try all these other things, but maybe it's no, we need to probably figure out, let's take out this, let's take out that, and let's just focus on this. So I think these are all really great answers. Was there someone else, before we move to number 3, was there someone else who wanted to share? Because I really love that we're talking about these things. And I realize that at times when you're around business owners, right, when you're around people who are thinking like-minded, you will realize that if you share with one another, you're all facing sometimes the same thing. and you can learn from each other. And so I like to create spaces where we all can realize that, hey, you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not doing anything that's way out there by yourself. In fact, we're all in the same boat. So someone else who wants to share.
I'll share. An obstacle I faced this year, and I see it going into the future, is creating boundaries between my personal life and my professional life. They bleed into each other. And I think part of that is being an entrepreneur. You think of yourself as working, whatever time, whatever day, and I need to structure that more. And also, like I said, create boundaries that my personal life, I don't allow that to bleed into my professional life, or my professional life to bleed into my personal life, to where I don't take time for myself because I'm constantly working.
Wow. Thank you so much, Stephanie. That is a very important thing to have, a balance between personal and professional, because as business owners, we left the quote unquote 9 to 5, right? If maybe you're still working, if you're still working a 9 to 5, I still feel like there's a point that you can relate in this. But most people leave the 9 to 5 so that they can be able to have time to themselves. They want to have a schedule for their own personal life. But then when you become a business owner and entrepreneur, it becomes the opposite, where you're working more, right? And it's like I traded 9 to 5, 8-hour shift for, who knows, 12-hour days, right? And I think this is something that all of us fall privy to. I've done it. And what I'd say is, what I've learned is having also your hours, your office hours. Having office hours for yourself as a business owner. Because if you're not clocking in and clocking out, and this is again about personal discipline, you clock in and clock out in a 9 to 5. Why can't you do the same thing for your own business? I also have days where I focus on certain aspects. There are certain days I don't take meetings. There's certain days that I do not do intense work, where if I know that the hardest part of my job is definitely, as working with authors, is editing books constantly. That I know I'm not going to put that on a Friday. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to put that on a Friday. I will put that early in the week. So it takes time for you to find a schedule and a routine that works well for your business, because also you have to schedule your other personal activities and so on and so forth. And it is, again, something that you can either choose personal discipline, or you can reach out to someone here or someone that, hey, I want to have an accountability partner that we both are saying, hey, I need to clock in and clock out. And this is a challenge for myself too. This is a challenge for us all. Thank you all for sharing. I learned a lot from that, and I hope you did too. Let's move to number 3. Number 3 is longevity. The third pitfall that business owners, entrepreneurs fall into is the pitfall of longevity. The first one we talked about was the pitfall of mentality, where your vision is only as good for tomorrow, where your vision asking yourself, does your vision make you want to change, shift things about yourself? Number 2, we talked about reality, where we have to anticipate the things that will go wrong. We have to anticipate the pitfalls. We have to anticipate the objections, rejections. And now, looking back throughout this year, use the pitfalls and rejections and objections that you faced as situations that can help you prepare for next year and how you will do things differently. Now, the third one is longevity. This part is the hardest for most people, and I know myself included. Why? Because it requires you to take the longest path to fulfilling your vision. You see, the wealthiest people on earth are those who played the long game, those who played the long game. Steve Jobs had a vision to build tools that amplify human ability. Now, he didn't see that as something that he would accomplish in 5 years. He didn't see that as a vision that he would accomplish in a year. In fact, each year there was a new innovation that would come up, or that rather there was a new innovation that would allow him to fulfill that vision, because he saw it as a vision that was going to be fulfilled over time. And it wasn't a one-time thing. Part of his longevity plan was to make the vision bigger than himself, that even those who would come after him would believe in it. And today we see that. Apple is one of, if not the biggest, one of the biggest companies in the world. And he had that vision before any of us ever had an iPhone. He had a vision before any one of us had an iPhone. And the problem that we face as business owners is that our visions are only good until the end of the year. And so vision boards are something that I I love that. I have a love and hate relationship with, because vision boards at times make you only think up until the end of the year. And it's sometimes something that will shift based on how the year ends. If it ended well, you will change or rather amplify that vision. But if it does not go well, that vision for the next year will change. And so your vision is always constantly changing, constantly changing. And sometimes you'll find that you're moving on different you're trying to cut down many trees at once, and this is not good for you. Why? Because you want to have a vision that you will have no problem committing the rest of your life to. What I've seen most people deal with, and this is why most people start a business, is that they leave the 9 to 5 because they don't want to work 40 years building another person's vision. But then they have a challenge committing 40 years into their own vision, because what they do is they have different visions throughout those 40 years. And what you don't want for your business and for your life is you have 40 different visions over 40 different years. You want to have one vision over 40 years. And the question that you have to figure out is, what is a vision that I can come up with, or rather that I can create for my life, for my business, that I have no problem committing the rest of my life to, that I have no problem committing 40 years of my life towards? Because you definitely, right? If you worked a 9 to 5, you probably were, again, working for a big company that they never changed their vision from the moment they started. And you have people who work their whole lives building that vision, 40 years until retirement. Can you do that for your own vision? Can you commit 40 years to your own vision? And the challenge all of us have, it's not that we can't, it's that our visions are just not big enough or exciting enough for us to have no issue committing 40 years towards that. Martin Luther King had a dream. We know his vision. We saw it. He committed his life, in fact, even up until death. Jesus had a vision. Every leader who accomplished something great had a vision that they committed 40 or their whole lives towards. And the question I want you to ask yourself today is maybe not how I can failure proof my business for 2023, but rather, what is a vision I can create for the rest of my life, for my business, for my family, for my generation, right? That I would gladly commit the rest of my life to building. Because when you have a vision that you will commit the rest of your life towards, you in fact, even through a recession, you will not be phased. Why? Because you know that this is a long-term game plan. This is a long-term game plan. And once you're committed to your vision, innovation will come naturally. Creativity will flow effortlessly, and you'll find yourself standing on top of a mountain that you were so glad that you took years to build. Now, I didn't have a question here for us to write down some things, but I do want you to take a moment right now and think about your vision. Has your vision been about what you want to achieve by the end of the year, or has it been what you want to achieve by the end of your life? And maybe some people can share about that. If you want, you can. But has it been about what you want to achieve by the end of the year? Or is it something that you sat down and said, by the end of my life, this is what I want to have accomplished through my business, through my life?
I will say my vision certainly has not been one that I looked at as a lifelong journey. I looked at it like, how will I sell my business, right? But the way you have framed things today helps me to understand that the life dream, the life vision helps pull you through all the years in between. It helps all of those little problems become smaller because it's the big ideal that is your path and
Absolutely.
makes all the rest of it less meaning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Do we have any other thoughts, comments?
You can call me Stephanie Jobs from now on.
Oh, we're putting that. We need to send you a name plaque right now. Stephanie Jobs.
I can share. For me, I have that same love-hate with vision boards. I actually have my vision board maybe 2015, 2016. I'm going to say 2016. I believe that a vision carries forward, especially when it has not come to fruition. So your vision should grow. As you grow, your vision should grow. And some of the same things will remain, but some of the boxes will have been checked. So I haven't created a vision board since 2018, 2019. You know, I've continuously added on, or now I have a multiple board vision board because my vision got bigger, my vision got stronger. My vision may have taken a pivot. And so, but some of the things that I visualized years ago are still being worked on and still being expressed and still being realized also.
I love that. Absolutely. The last time I created my vision board, I still have it. It was a couple years ago, maybe 2016. And I definitely love that you said that your vision grows as you grow. And this is something that we've seen in different companies. Apple, right? Obviously, the computers they had back then, Macintosh, right, isn't the same, right, as MacBook Pro today. However, their vision remained that they would build tools to amplify human ability. But innovation will come along the way. And this is the one thing that I hope that you all will take, is that your vision grows. Just as Nakia said it, your vision grows as you grow. But your vision has to be so big that it forces you to always grow, to always innovate. And that's the one thing that I hope that you can take. Does your vision make you want to continuously come up with new innovations to fulfill that which you know that you're meant to fulfill, that you know that you have the potential to do? And as real estate agents, or whether you're an entrepreneur, business owner, that is the one thing that you can take when you approach your year, your upcoming 2023 year. What is that thing, that new innovation maybe I can try this year, but look at it in a way that this is not just something that I'm gonna do for 2023. This is something I'm doing for the rest of my life. Thank you, Nakia. Do we have any others before Hart closes out here? Wonderful. So I leave you with this quote by Alex Hormozzi. It says, "A mediocre plan done for a decade beats a perfect plan done for a day. A mediocre plan done for a decade beats a perfect plan done for a day." Don't let your 2023 become about achieving what you didn't achieve this year. Let it become about the things the steps you want to take towards fulfilling that lifelong vision and dream for your life. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm waiting for any feedback, comments. If you could share that quote again.
It says, "A mediocre plan done for a decade beats a perfect plan done for a day."
Is there anyone who would like to share based on what they have received today?
I'll say this was really good and eye-opening and helped you take a step back. We've been doing business planning. I just did one this morning. But every time we gather and come back together, we see a different way to do business planning. So we appreciate you and your sponsors hosting this call. We appreciate you, Roy, for giving and pouring into us and helping us see things from a different perspective, because this will really help in business and personal. We strive, Brenda and I, we have a partnership, and we strive to make sure that everyone's healthy in their business, but also healthy in their personal lives. So I'm glad I was able to jump on this call. I'm glad I cleared my schedule to be here because I really did take a lot. So we do have to give both of you, again, another round of applause for hosting this call and sharing this information with us today. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nakia.
Sheila's feedback to you, Roy, is very inspirational. Thank you. So I have a note for myself. My vision has to be big enough that it pushes me to grow, innovate, and overcome obstacles, for it is for the rest of my life. That's how I summarize what I learned today. Thanks for watching. We want you to come back because we know that you learned something from watching that particular video. That means you're going to subscribe and share with others what you learned from this particular platform. Welcome back on Friday to attend this live at 12 p.m. Eastern. Registration is found on our website, trainingwithbrenda.com or brendakasuva.com. Until next time, take care.